Well, hello, everybody. Hey, this is Dr. Scott Uhall, and I want to say thanks for showing up for our next coffee chat that we have on combating battle fatigue. And today we're going to talk about mindfulness and the mind-body-spirit connection to go along with the other things that we've been talking about. And we've got a very special guest today. We've got Lisa Camarillo. She's the owner and a certified teacher of hot yoga on Main down in Trinidad, Colorado. I've known her for years. I've actually taken a few classes with her. She's also the general manager of the Phil Long Toyota store down in Trinidad. So she's going to take us through some mindfulness exercises towards the end and give us a perspective on mindfulness here in a little bit. So I want to say thank you, Lisa, for tuning in today. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You bet. All right. So let's get after it. Again, today we're talking about the continuation of our virtual coffee chat on trying to combat battle fatigue and dealing with all the stress and all the social disruption and everything that's going on. And we've got to take care of ourselves. Otherwise, distress can really tear us up. So again, Lisa's here to help us and take us through some things today. I'm looking forward to that. And then next week, we're going to probably finalize the program and bring everything together, finding life balance and how to combat your personal battle fatigue. So with that, let's get after today's quarter hour of wellness power. Again, just a real quick difference between a medical doctor and myself, a PhD doctor of health education. My specialty is really in behavior change and lifestyle management. And a medical doctor, they treat chronic disease. They use medicines and so forth to help you. So we're both trying to help each other out. We just go about it a little bit differently. If you have a question or a comment, please put it in the Q&A section at the end, and I'll get to that at the end of the program after Lisa's done taking us through some things. And I want to say thank you very much to Kangaroo Coffee for being our sponsor at these coffee chats. It's hot here in Colorado Springs. Go get yourself an iced coffee and cool yourself down. So with that, we always have a disclaimer. And today's activity, it involves physical activity. So if you haven't had an annual physical, if you haven't spoken with your medical doctor in a while, why don't you set that annual physical, get with your doctor, because we definitely don't want anybody to hurt themselves while they're trying to get well. Now, let's get into today's presentation. Now, last week we were talking about stress management a little bit. And the non-specific response of the body to any demand placed on it. That's kind of what stress is. But how we perceive the stress and how we respond to the stress is extremely critical. And if we deal with stress in a negative way, that's what we call distress or harmful stress. And that can lead to chronic disease like heart disease, cancer, diabetes, even mental issues like depression and so forth. And there's another type of stress out there, and it's a good type of stress. It's called eustress, and it's beneficial. And like I said, it's how we respond to the stress or the trigger that's going on that's critical to our well-being. And that's kind of where mindfulness comes in. It's a new concept. It's a psychological process, and it's where we kind of try to connect the mind, the body, and the spirit. And mindfulness is about living in the now. Right now, the present situation. It's not living in the past. It's not living in the future. It's living in the present. And how do you take a stressful or a trigger kind of situation, and how do you turn that into a beneficial kind of stress? Well, we have an example here of kind of how you can do that, the RAIN principle, and I'll go over that here in just a second. But kind of the background of mindfulness is, like I said, we want to bring attention to the here and now. Without judging. Say someone comes up to you and says something that's not really nice. That could be a trigger. And instead of immediately responding back, practicing mindfulness can help you turn a distressful situation into a eustressful situation. So if someone comes at you, you recognize what it is that's going on, and you calmly acknowledge the emotion and the feeling that you have. And you do this introspectively. You do this within yourself, and you feel the emotion that's generated from this situation. And by living in the now, you can come up with a positive response, a helpful and beneficial response, instead of maybe just snapping back at someone. And like I said, mindfulness, it's something that you practice. It's not like a light switch that comes on overnight. You work on it and you develop a protocol, if you will, to work with. And the more that you can implement it and utilize it, the more successful you'll be at mindfulness. And so this RAIN principle is recognizing the trigger, whether it's good or bad, and identifying that. You allow an emotion or a thought to express itself within you, but you don't let that thought or feeling overtake you. You absorb it, you feel it, you investigate why did I have this feeling? What triggered it, and how do I respond to it? So at the end, your non-identification, you're not upset, you're not even euphoric, but you can identify with the situation and come up with a positive and healthful and beneficial response instead of just maybe snapping or maybe even internalizing it and hurting yourself with long-term unmanaged stress. So a couple of things, and then I'm going to lead up and let Lisa take over the rest of the program. But like I said, with constant practice, you get better at mindfulness. Even consider keeping a daily journal on your emotions and feelings. Write them down and express them. Be thankful. Gratitude is a real big, important element of mindfulness. Be thankful for what you have and where you're at. Don't wish that you had other things. Don't wish that other things happened in your life, but be thankful for what you have. Be in the here and the now. Be thankful for your family. Be thankful for having a dog, a job, and all these things. And you'll notice that the eustress, the beneficial stress in your body will come out. Practice what you preach. Be good to others and they'll be good to you. Kind of like the karma situation. Say nice things to others and you'll receive the benefit of those nice things. And now, kind of leading up, meditation, yoga, breath work, that's all what I'm about to turn it over to the master here in a minute. And she's going to take us through some things. And if you do meditation, if you do yoga, if you breathe, these things will actually emphasize and stimulate your parasympathetic part of your nervous system, which is the part of your nervous system that helps you relax. You've probably heard of the sympathetic nervous system. That's the one that causes the cortisol to be released, the adrenaline and all that. So by practicing mindfulness and getting your homeostasis back into normalcy, you can really do beneficial things for your long-term health and fight and dissipate the chronic stresses that go on. So with that, Lisa, why don't you give us a couple of minutes of your thoughts on mindfulness, and then I'd love for you to take us through a little meditation and relaxation and breathing program, if you could. And one last thing, on Saturday mornings from 8 to 9 on YouTube, on Trinidad Times TV, you can actually do yoga in the park, and Lisa can take you through an hour of power in yoga. So with that, love to hear what you got to say, Lisa.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. I'm Lisa, and one of the things we actually talk about mindfulness a lot around here at Toyota, because everything is about everything and nothing's about nothing. It's kind of funny. All of our staff, everybody knows that when we do things or we don't do certain things, we create a set on the mindfulness or lack of mindfulness. We do a lot of things together here at this Toyota dealership. So we have a kitchen, we have all kinds of things. So there's the mindfulness that has to apply there. But more than anything, I think that there's like a stigma around, well, what would that actually take? And recognizing when we truly are fatigued and when we are depressed and we don't even know it. I mean, a lot of times we don't even know that we're going through something emotional because we're already on autopilot of coping. So we don't even understand that, you don't know that you're depressed until all of a sudden that gets removed, or you don't know that you're fatigued till all of a sudden that's removed, and then it's like, whoa, what was that? So one of the definitions that I really want to start with today is the definition of yoga. A lot of people want to say, oh, you have to be really flexible, or, it's an exercise. Actually, the definition of yoga is union or connection. So when most people come together and they talk about they're doing their yoga, they're not necessarily getting flexible and exercising. Sometimes they're just meditating. They are creating a connection. Yoga is a union between your body and your soul. between something inside of you and something outside of you, something that's connecting every part of your being to something that's bigger than you. And so yoga can mean, you're walking, you're taking a walk and you're doing your yoga. You're uniting yourself with something else. One of the greatest descriptions that I like to use is, we do postures in yoga. So we'll do, warrior one or warrior two, and there's several different postures. But what a lot of people don't recognize is each posture opens up a level of storage of emotion in the body. For example, if your hips are very tight or you have great sciatic and lower back, everybody says, oh, well, I sit in that chair all day, or, I walk or I do this. When really what's storing in that part of our body is feelings of lack, feelings of insecurity, and feelings of resentment. And sometimes we don't even know it. So we gather up all those little, what I call little resentments, the ones that you say under your breath saying, oh, can't believe they said that to me. Can't believe she did that. He did that. They want me to do this again. Those are those little resentments that if you don't pay attention to, they store up, and the next thing you know, you can't walk because your hip is out. It's kind of a funny thing. Then you go into a yoga room and we release a lot of that tightness and we release a lot of that emotion, and we use things like affirmations, letting go and loving yourself through that. And forgiveness is a big one. And all of a sudden, I use this example. I've had grown men just start to cry, and it's not because they're in pain. They're releasing stored up emotion that they didn't even realize they had. The other part of that is understanding that what illness is, and that illness is real. It's really happening in your body. However, the trigger of how you got there is generally started by something mental, something that you've created inside of you. When you can look at that and look at like the word fatigue, I know we were talking about that in the beginning of this, is the word fatigue, if you look up an emotional balance to fatigue and what does that mean, the word fatigue actually means lack of love for what one does. So if you're only fatigued while you're at work and it's just you're drained, and you leave and you have all this abundance of energy, you might want to take a look at how you're enduring what you're doing. And if you're having to use those words, I'm enduring this job, or I'm enduring that birthday party, or whatever, then you can actually shift it by just recognizing the behavior that's happening in your body and then shifting into something more positive. Gratitude, like Scott said, is always a wonderful one. It's finding the greatness and the gratitude that is obvious and right there beside us. I don't know where I'm at on time, but
I tell you what, that's great stuff and information. If you would take us through a few minutes of meditation, and if we do this, I mean, you'll actually feel tension release from your body.
So on that, so one of the things is you want to just kind of sit up kind of tall wherever you are. And I want to talk just really quick about the brain. The brain has a natural cleaning mechanism. It goes into what we call a cleaning mode when you are in 2 times during your world, whatever that is. In REM sleep, your brain goes into it has like a cleaner. And the only other place it can get that same effect as REM sleep is in meditation. When the body can actually calm itself down and allow the mind to begin to level out and unwind is when the brain will clear it and clean it, and then the brain fog lifts, fatigue lifts. Those are all those things. We're able to sleep and have those benefits. So if you want to sit up tall and just kind of, I like to just shake it out a little bit, because we take on a lot of stuff in a dealership. I don't care what position you're in, you're taking on a lot of stuff. And there's a whole lot of energy flying around, and somebody had a bad day, and somebody's kids got sick, or whatever. And then it's just about really just coming into a breath. I'm going to walk you through a meditation right now, and the words that I'm going to use are Sanskrit words called Ananda Hum. Now, Ananda Hum, in its Sanskrit definition, is Ananda is I am. So Ananda Hum is I am bliss. I am enough. Enough in this moment, enough in this time and space. I do enough, I have enough. Sometimes I like to always say, sometimes when I'm teaching yoga, enough is enough. You know, like get the crazy out. And repeating those words, Ananda Hum. So in Sanskrit, when we do this meditation, you're going to be guided, and you want to use the word the way it sounds, because remember, even our postures change how we feel in yoga, so our words do a vibration in the body. So Ananda Hum. So on that N and that M, there's like a vibration that's happening. So soften your eye gaze or shut them, whatever, if you want to take a look. And just lay your hands just at your lap and allow yourself to just breathe, however that breath comes in and out. But I want you to observe how that breath is entering in and out of the body. Does it stop at your throat or at your high chest? Or are you one of those lucky people that breath is going all the way down into the belly? So a mindful way to attract your breath to your belly is to place your hand on your lower belly. And then as you breathe in, the breath will attract itself to your hand. And then take a slow breath out. Now, with your eyes closed, we're going to say these words, and we're just going to do a few rounds of Ananda Hum. And allow yourself to just, you won't feel any other distraction unless somebody is actually touching you and distracting you. But place your hand on your belly, soften your eye gaze. Let all the breath out, and then take a deep breath in. Again, push all the breath out. Now start with the words, breathing in, Ananda Hum. Ananda Hum. And just bring that silently into your practice, Ananda Hum. And we're going to take a few moments. It'll be silent, so anytime your mind starts to get distracted, come back to the words, Ananda Hum. And I'll signal you when it's time to stop. Begin. It's time to release your mantra. Take a deep breath in, full exhale, and gently open your eyes. You might just be feeling a little bit of energy that built up inside of you. You might feel really relaxed. You might feel really self-conscious. If it was your first time, you might be feeling all kinds of things. And if you meditate regularly, it might not have been long enough. So just see how that actually sits with you. And you don't need 45 minutes of meditation. This was 15 seconds of meditation. is what that was.
That's a question I had. If you have anything that you'd like to put in the chat room, please do. But that's something that I thought was true, that you had to take a long period of time to meditate. And it doesn't take really much of anything. It's just a short amount of time where you focus your mind. Is that right, Lisa?
Yeah, and meditation, we can go back to meditation. You can have what we call a silent meditation where you sit quietly. You can close your eyes and bring your attention to that place between your eyebrows, and that's your third eye center, and just allow yourself to focus in on your breath. If you're somebody that wanders off all the time in your mind, you can count. I breathe in, I breathe out. That is a perfect 4 count up and a 4 count out. You can also just go take a walk, and being in nature or taking a walk and counting your steps as you walk. Meditation can be many, many things. It's just about quieting the mind to where it can sort the things out that you can't get to because you're so busy handling all the other things.
So, well, I tell you, I really.
There's a question here. It says, Ananda hum while breathing. So what I kind of do is, I take one form of it where I'm going to breathe in. So Ananda, I can go Ananda, and then the hum on the way out. And maybe it's just a silent in your mind where you can breathe in and breathe out. It takes practice and just messing around with it, but it's really just feeling a presence that can take you outside of yourself.
It does. It takes a while to get good at practicing meditation. You know, I've done yoga probably 60 times now, and I still get something new every time. The breath, I really enjoy the deep breaths, and you can just feel the stress leave your body. So I thought I had a great time. It looks like we had a couple people put comments. So any closing thoughts, Lisa?
Well, one of the things that you can do, especially if you're really stressed or you get done with your day and you're still feeling that residual fatigue, you can go to your home and you can lie down. And all you want to do is lie down on your back, and you want to lift your legs up against the wall. In yoga, we call this legs up the wall. And you bring the legs up and you butt yourself up to the wall and you open up your arms and you just begin to breathe. This is what we refer to as yoga Xanax. And it allows that breath to come in and out and allows you to really regulate your breath. You will actually feel your heart rate begin to lower. And that only takes just a matter of maybe a few minutes. And your kids can do it with you, and they find it fun that you're doing that.
That's exactly what we're talking about. That's that parasympathetic response. It helps you slow down. It helps your body kind of get control of the day's events. So, well, hey, Lisa, I'd like to say thank you very much. I appreciate your time and expertise today. I got a lot out of the chat today. And like I said, 8 to 9 on Saturday mornings, if you want to see her in action, get on that YouTube channel. It's pretty cool. It's Yoga in the Park. So,
yeah, we run classes at Hot Yoga on Main down here in Trinidad all the time. But, you know, our whole team is dedicated to wellness and helping everyone. So if anyone just wants something, you know, even in private, we'd be more than happy to, you know, when we're up in Springs or doing something. We're all about community, and we're all about really helping people feel great. That's the biggest thing. So thank you.
And like I said, I've done a couple classes down there. I did hot yoga. I've only done it once, and that was with Lisa, and that was fun. I felt very refreshed after it was done. So, hey, one last thing, folks. I'm just going to put a little deal plug tomorrow. We're up here doing our Trailblazers Rock On with Phil Long event. Randy Gradishar is going to be out there. So from 5 to 8, if you want to get out and ride a bike, run, meet us up here at the Trailblazers. And once again, I'd like to say thank you very much, Lisa. Great information, and probably love to have you back.
I think it'd be fun. Maybe next time we can do yoga. Who knows?
That's great. Thanks again, everybody, and I'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you. Bye.